Hello, I'm Jim Schwolk, and welcome back to Amplified Treasures, a channel dedicated to all types of music gear. In this episode, we'll be looking at the beast that is the ESP FRX Tom Araya signature bass. As you can tell from that opening, I am not a bass player. I am the type of bass player that just follows along, especially when recording kind of something like this, or something like this. Right? We all know that. And then I'll send the track to a bass player friend, of course, without my track, to lay down a real bass player's track. There's not going to be a whole lot of playing when we look at bass guitars, and the little bit of playing that there will just be very, very basic. But I wanted to share with you guys this ESP FRX. That's they do have FRX guitars, so this isn't a body that is limited to Tom Araya and his bass. They do have ESP guitars, 6-string and basses in this body style. I think this is a wicked body style. The minute that I saw this body style, it just screams metal. Even in the 6-string guitars, they have, I don't know if they still make it, but they had an FRX in reindeer blue, and the pictures are just gorgeous. This thing looks like it's purple-ish to black, maple, a flame top. They look incredible with this style of a body. I was able to see one at the NAMM show in reindeer blue. I believe it was reindeer blue, reindeer 2 blue. It's a second version of it. Still gorgeous, gorgeous finish. But so this is the FRX series body. Tom Araya used to have a different style body. It was a cutout like this in the bottom. That was his first signature. This is his second signature and his latest one. I don't believe they're going to do any more, especially with Slayer kind of turning back, retiring, so to speak. They're doing just festivals now and then 1 or 2 shows. They're not really, really together, as they say. But I might piss some people off here, but I am a huge Tom Araya fan. I am a huge Dave Lombardo fan. Dave Lombardo, man. I have a funny story about Dave, but now's not the time to get into that. And Jeff Hanneman. I've met Kerry King. He's an all right guy. I do have a little bit bad taste in my mouth because when I was meeting him at the NAMM show, he was 3 hours late, and then blew it off like it was no big deal. So I mean, that was a dick move. And I like people who just respect the fans. And if you're going to be 3 hours late, shit happens, and especially in LA traffic, right? Where the NAMM show's in Anaheim, getting from LA, getting from wherever you're at. There's all sorts of reasons why 3-hour delay could be excusable, but to show up and just care like not a care in the world left a bad taste in my mouth. So my 3 favorite members of Slayer: Dave Lombardo, Jeff Hanneman, Tom Araya. And that's what we're looking at now. This is it's a huge ass bass. So like I said, I had the LTD 604. The difference between the LTD 604 and it was either the 204 or the 404, but the other LTD line, there's 2 LTD lines. The entry level one had a bolt-on neck, whereas the 604 and the ESP both are neck through. Okay, so that's the thing you're going to look at. If you see a really inexpensive Tom Araya bass versus a more expensive one, and you're wondering why when they're both LTDs, it's going to be the 604 versus, I'll look it up and put it in here, it's 204, versus the other one, bolt-on neck versus the neck through body. All of them are this ginormous 35-inch scale. With my little dainty fingers, it's a scale, man. But this, it's a beast. The ESP version, when I got the ESP version, I still have the LTD. It's all boxed up, ready to be shipped out. I should have done this video before I boxed it up and put it on Reverb and Sweetwater Gear Exchange and had them side by side. I'll throw up some pictures of them side by side. So the immediate difference looking at them between the LTD and the ESP is the darker finish of the ESP. The finish on the ESP looks 1,000 times better than the finish on the LTD. And with that said, I'm not saying the LTD looked bad. The LTD finish looked really good. But this one just is one step above. The next difference is the 604 had a maple body. This one, an alder body, which probably explains the weight difference, because that's the second thing I noticed. That's why I bring it up now. As I opened up the case, I noticed the color was much darker, black, better finish. And then when I took it out of the case, I was like, whoa, this is light, especially for this guitar. It's really light. And then holding it to my LTD, this is a lighter guitar. They're gonna be close, should have weighed it, I didn't. They're close, but when you pick it up, this is lighter. So the LTD has a 3-piece maple neck, where this is not a 3-piece. This is a 1-piece, I believe. I'm going to look that up and double check. The LTD has a Macassar ebony fingerboard. I did learn how to pronounce that. Thank you, Google. Whereas this one is an ebony fingerboard, and that's the other cosmetic difference, as well as the way it feels, is the darkness of a real ebony and the cleanness of, you know, you don't really have any wood lines. You don't have different shades of black on the ebony. They both have the pentagons, they both have the pentagrams, sorry, not pentagon, pentagram inlays. This one, you can tell is much more fine to detail than the LTD, and they both have the Araya on the 12th fret. The LTD has a thin U, whereas this one has a thin U as well. Neck, which, you know, it's, I'll look at the stats, but even looking at the LTD versus the ESP next to each other, the nut seemed a lot thinner, and the neck here at the top. And I believe it is. I'll put the LTD and the ESP, I'll look it up on their website and put it below. But it is super small here. I mean, I could wrap my fingers around it, you know, and some of my other basses, they're like this at the top. The LTD came with a molded nut. This is a graphite nut, which graphite nuts are really hard to find from what I've heard from some of my guitar builder friends who, one of my friends had a custom guitar built and wanted a graphite nut, and it was really hard for the person to find it. I guess those are getting harder and harder to find, but that's what this one is made of. Maybe in Japan, they're not as hard to find. The 24 humongous extra jumbo frets. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why a bass guitar needs 24 frets. I'm sure Rob Trujillo, Les Claypool might disagree because they are up here with some stuff. Geddy Lee might disagree. Like, I get it. I'm not a bass player. Again, I love that bass line. It's in one of my songs. It's just an open A, you know. I mean, I'm not a bass player. There we go. You know, I don't claim to be one. They are stainless steel frets, so they feel really, really smooth. The quality and the attention to detail, I mean, this is the cleanest fret job I've seen in a long time. Even from ESP, sometimes they're just a little bit snaggy. Sometimes these are just beautiful. They both have EMG 35 DC active pickups. I have no idea what the DC means, but they are the same pickups between the LTD and the ESP. The LTD does have a different bridge. It has the LTD BB604. It's a 604 guitar. This has Goto bridge, a Goto bridge, and Goto tuners. They're not locking, which I'm not really sure. Not being a bass player, I don't work on very many basses. I don't know if they make locking tuners for basses because of the way bass strings usually, you know, push in and then wrap around. They kind of lock on their own. So I'm not really sure that you need locking tuners on a bass. I could be wrong. I'll do a little bit more research. And of course you have the beautiful ESP logo, which you can't really tell it's in mother of pearl. Maybe you can tell. Whereas the LTD was just plastic in there. And then you've got Tom Araya's signature because it's his signature bass. Of course, you have the beautiful world logo ESP on the back. You have, this thing's so long, I got to make sure I'm not hitting a ceiling fan or anything. You have the ashtray. I did put a 24 volt in here. Not because I needed to or wanted to. Well, I wanted to. Not because of anything other than the fact that my LTD had a 24 volt mod battery in it. And I wasn't going to sell the LTD with that. So I took the 9 volt out of this one, put it in the LTD, took the LTD 24 volt, put it in this guy. It is kind of cool how the FRX guitars and basses have the jack. It's kind of a Fender style input jack on the back. It doesn't really work well with my 90. I do have a regular one. I just didn't want to hunt for it. I have these silent cables. These are really nice. If you've never seen them, they're Mogami, but it's silent. It has this little ring you can see pushes down, so it doesn't buzz until you push that down, and then you get the buzz. So it makes it for silent changes, no popping. If you're used to unplugging, you got pop, and then you plug it in and you pop. You know, these are really nice for that. I do have a normal silent cable for my V's, but by the time I got everything ready to film this video is when I remembered about this, and I didn't want to dig through and find the cable. So pure laziness on my part. It does work, but a normal cable is better on these type of jacks. These jacks are kind of the same on some of the V's, at least the ESP V's that I've used. The control cavity, I did take it off just to look in it. I didn't snap any pictures because I wasn't thinking ahead. I was too excited about finally getting this thing, and I put it back together before I took any pictures of it. The reason I say I was excited about finally getting it is ESPs are not readily stocked. They're not readily available. If you ever go into a music store or online shopping and there's ESPs available, like in stock, that's very rare and very unusual. Because they're so expensive, they normally don't, music stores will not order them. Some will. I know Axe Palace, Nicholas over there orders a lot of ESPs to keep ESPs in stock. He orders, ESP USAs regularly. He's the exception, but most shops do not order a lot of ESP USAs unless they have an order for them. And I bought this from Sweetwater, and even though they're a huge retailer, they're no exception to, they don't want to get stuck with the ESPs if the market's not there for them to be bought. So I ordered this in May of 2024, and we are July of 2025 right now as we're filming this. So it was 13-ish, 14 months of an order, which actually is really good. I've had an ESP USA Eclipse on order since August of 2023, and I still don't have an ETA on that guitar. So I do know USA is a longer wait than ESP for some reason, but even Gibson, I know I looked at placing a made-to-measure guitar once with Gibson, and they were talking 18 to 24 month lead time. So 13, 14 months to get this is not bad in the relative terms of things. So I was excited. I didn't take very many pictures. I came home, took it out, and went, oh man, I didn't take a video. Put it back in, shot a video of opening it. I'll include that. I'll put it somewhere where I'm talking, maybe right over this since I'm not doing anything. And then pulled it out, took it apart, and played the few bass lines that I actually know. And I don't even know if that opening Slayer of Seasons in the Abyss is how Tom plays it. I know that's kind of how the guitar plays it. I don't know if the bass line follows the guitar. He's a kick-ass bass player. It was really cool because this is July of 2025 when we're filming this. This is right after the Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath Back to the Beginning. And I streamed it. I didn't go, but I streamed it. And it was nice to see Tom out there playing his bass after I got mine. One in drop C sharp for the opening song, I believe, and then the others are in E flat. They do mess with tunings a little bit. Slayer is and Kiss are the bands that I give credit to of making me play mostly everything in E flat. If Slayer's not playing in some drop tune or some lower tuning, they're playing in E flat. Kiss plays everything in E flat. I don't even think they go to D. They may go to D for one or two songs, but those two bands are the reason I mainly play in E flat. But it comes with, the ESP does come with their version of strap locks. They're branded ESP, but they are identical to Schaller, and Schaller fits on them. So I don't even change the buttons on my ESPs. It's really cool. I'll take a picture of this. I don't know if you can see it in here, but if you can't, I'll take a picture. But this strap button is actually inset in the horn, so that it's got more of a mass on the body to grip to, right? To grip to than just the tip of the horn. It's kind of inset, flattened out. Really, really neat concept. My LTD was not like that. My LTD sat on the rounded part of the horn. This one is just flat, so it doesn't matter. It is a little uncomfortable play sitting down because of this guy right here. This guy does dig into your leg quite a bit. I've never been a player to be able to play like, well, the bass I probably could play like this. I don't know if it's because of my belly or what, but playing guitar like this, it always wants to slide off this way. So I've never really been able to play guitar like this. I always play classical style. But even like this, that horn does dig into your leg. Maybe if you had a little bit smaller of a leg that could fit in, it wouldn't be a problem. I don't play standing up. Like I've mentioned in other videos, I mainly play sitting down. Especially if I'm going to be playing bass. I'm definitely not going to be, the times I jam with my brother-in-law or some friends, I'm definitely not going to be playing bass. So I don't know how this would feel standing up. I don't plan on finding out. But that is a hard look at the ESP Tom Araya signature bass. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed everything about it except my bass playing skills. And if you enjoyed my bass playing skills, there's something wrong with you. With that, I'll try to play a little bit bass coming out. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment what you think about the Tom Araya signature bass. Maybe tell me what your favorite Slayer song is. It's hard for me to pick, but Mandatory Suicide, Skeletons of Society, those are two of my favorite. Of course, the Raining Blood. And I used to know some of this Rage Against the Machine song. That's as much finger slapping as I ever did. I used to play bass like 30 years ago for my brother-in-law's band, and they were a big Kiss band. Played a lot of Kiss. I think I remember some of Detroit Rock City. Don't criticize any of my bass playing because I'm not a bass player, as I've said. But I think I still remember some of that, like some.